Okay, welcome everybody to the presentation of the Speech and Language Technology major at Aalto University. So my name is Mikko Kurimo and I'm the professor here in Speech and Language Processing and head of this Speech and Language Technology major. And then we have here also Tiina Lindknutila, who is a solution architect at Linksoft, so alumna of our program. And then we have some study specialists here in the panel here who can answer your questions. So please put your questions in chat so that we can take time and answer them. And welcome everybody to listen to this workshop. And this will be recorded for those participants who cannot listen to it online. So what is Aalto University? So Aalto University is a quite new university, but it's actually a merger of three old universities here in Finland: Helsinki University of Technology, University of Art and Design, and Helsinki School of Economics. Aalto has already got some international recognition among the young universities globally, and about the internationality of the university, about the advancing responsible consumption and production, and also as a multidisciplinary university and collaborative research. So the important thing in Aalto University is the multidisciplinarity between arts and business and technology. At Aalto campus, so all these three fields are represented. You can meet other students in different disciplines. We have excellent study facilities and libraries, student hubs, laboratories, study studios, and workshops. And the core of our campus strategy is also sustainability and carbon neutrality. The student union has also separate facilities as affordable student housing and also spaces like guild rooms, sports facilities, party and lounge spaces, saunas, and so on. Nowadays, Aalto University campus has a wide range of services. So we have a shopping center here, restaurants, cafes, bars, shops, and the subway station, and several bus lines. And also a tram line has been built to the campus, so in a couple of years the regular tram transportation is also starting. So Aalto campus is situated in Espoo, but it's just 10 minutes subway ride from the downtown Helsinki, so not very far. But as slightly outside of the city center, this campus is quite green and is next to the nature reserves. About everyday life at Aalto University. So we have this unique campus environment where you can live, study, work, and spend free time with other students. Finland is known as a world leader in education and also as a community with very low hierarchies. So if you meet a professor here, you can safely stop him and ask and start discussion. There's no that kind of hierarchy here. And Finland is also doing rather well in comparisons regarding safety and quality of life and happiness. For foreign students, this is quite convenient that everybody here speaks English at Aalto and also in Finland as a whole. So no worry that you can also manage with English here. Yep. Many things related to Finland are the same as also I mentioned about Aalto. So the statistics of happiness and equality and about being safe and clean, close to nature, And also, surprisingly, Finland is quite well connected to Nordics and Europe. So even though in the map, Finland seems to be on the edge of Europe, it is still not far away from the major cities in Europe by flights. And here are some of the rankings that we have been posting about here, about the quality of life and equality between genders and all people. So now getting to the nature of speech and language technology. So what are the reasons why to study in this program? So Aalto has many other nice programs also related to machine learning and signal processing and language. So why to pick up this? So we have a quite unusually strong research orientation with top-level research groups here. So basically the teaching and supervision is done by well-known professors and research experts, but they are also participating in many student projects as supervisors. And also the studies are quite flexible here. So although we have some compulsory courses, but major part of the studies can be personalized to your own interests. Second reason is that this is a unique combination of machine learning, speech, and language processing. So here the machine learning really meets the real world and tries to understand human communication and even speak with human. And the third reason I would emphasize the attractive career opportunities in Finnish and global ICT companies. So the field is really growing rapidly, and this can be seen as the competition between the big companies and small startups to get the best of our graduates. Then about the program structure. So speech and language technology is part of this 2-year Master of Science program, which consists of 120 credits, where 35 credits is the compulsory courses, the basic areas, machine learning, speech processing, speech recognition, and natural language processing courses. Then we have 25 credits, quite much optional courses, which are typically research seminars or individual project works or courses that dive a bit deeper in the fundamental science or alternatively widen your scope in related fields. And you can also use this optional part as introducing a personal minor on some other topic if you are interested in. And then we have the elective, freely selected courses where you can, for example, take courses in Finnish language or any other field that Aalto is producing. And then finally, the master's thesis. So if you have any questions, I still recommend you to use the chat.
There is actually one question about the study starting next academic year. So when does this course start, and is there a spring intake? Is it a 2-year course?
Maybe you can answer, Eva, yourself here.
Yeah, sure. So hello everyone. Yeah, so in the next application, after the next application period, the studies start in September 23. And we have only one intake per year, and the application period is now in December, from December to January. And the results of the admission will be published in the spring.
Thank you, Eva.
And it is a 2-year course.
Any other questions about the program? structure. Okay, then we're moving to the personnel here. So we have 3 professors here to teach you in speech and language processing courses. Myself, Tom Bäckström, and Paavo Alku. And actually we have a process going on for nominating the 4th professor. So it is actually, I think it has been nominated already, but it's not yet public. So I don't even know who is the 4th one. But he will start in January, I think. And then what is speech and language technology? So things what we start research here and also what the course is about. So for example, automatic speech recognition or synthetic speech, automatic speech translation, or recognizing the speaker, modeling the language in different ways, voice search, privacy of speaking, and in general, what the voice tells about the speaker, for example, health conditions, language skills, or the origin. So a lot of things about machine learning, signal processing, and modeling human communication. So this is very much related to human, in a sense, if you think about machine learning in general. It's all about human language and speaking. So about the career opportunities. So the speech and language technology is part of the Computer Communications and Information Science master's program, which is actually I think the largest and one of the most selective master's programs at Aalto. So here you will meet many excellent students from all over the world, which is of course very valuable for your future as well, not just fun. And this program, CCIS program, is also highly respected among the employers in Finland. So it is good passport for looking for jobs. Of course, this area is very hot internationally. So all the big companies like Google and Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, they are all investing heavily on speech and language technology for their products and also for research. But there are also other kind of specialized companies. And also I would like to emphasize the kind of scheme here for startups and spin-offs and language technology companies in Finland. So here I collected a list of where our alumni, what they have founded or where they are working. For example, learning to pronounce foreign languages through play and imitation. That's a company called Hokema. Then there's a company called Ääni Company who is studying speech recognition, how to make meaningful sound and speech accessible, understandable, and actionable for everybody. Then Speechly is a company to produce simple voice interfaces, APIs for web, mobile, and e-commerce. And then also for dictation, cost-efficient dictation, optimizing and storing patient notes in Inscripta. And also translation, subtitling, transcription services, as well as diverse speech recognition and text analytics solutions can be found in Linksoft as well. So these are just a few examples of interesting new companies. About the research facilities here. So I picked up the computation facilities. I think that is very essential for our student and research. So Aalto has a computer called Triton, which is a supercomputer, actually the largest supercomputer in Finland outside of the National Center of Science. So this is a very important for us. It's very well integrated into the workstations of all researchers here at Aalto. And then, of course, we have access to this IT Center for Science in Finland, which is the home of LUMI, which you may have heard. It's at the moment Europe's most powerful supercomputer. And different resource, especially relevant for speech and language technology, is the Lahjoita Puhetta speech data collection, where we participated at Aalto. So it has over 250,000 donations, which makes the spoken Finnish language now uniquely covered for research and AI development out of all languages in the world. So this is very interesting, novel data. Besides working and studying at Aalto, you have also good internship possibilities. So typically the Finnish companies, as well as Aalto's research groups, they take summer interns for research and thesis projects. So you can basically do your study, part of the studies that is on thesis and research, you can do that also in companies or at Aalto's research groups. So that is a very good option. And then if you want to go abroad, so also the courses you take as an exchange student abroad, you can include in your degree at Aalto. So that is a good thing to remember. We are quite flexible here if it's at all relevant to your studies. Okay, maybe at this point we could have Tina here, who is one of the alumna of our program.
Yes, hello, everyone. It's nice to get to kind of speak with you all and answer your questions, what you may have. So, as Mikko said, I am an alumna of speech and language technology. When I got my master's, well, it's been some time, so Aalto wasn't the university yet, but anyway. But so basically I've been working now in this field for a decade or so, and also I have been able to follow quite closely both the research side of things within speech and language technology and then at the kind of company side. So so basically, as you know, or hopefully know, the kind of language technology side is really booming. So there's so many tools that are easily available. Some of the tools are such that it's a Docker container and you just kind of download it and put it running, and then you can do your named entity recognition or speech recognition kind of on the go, or some website to get very easily into trying out things. But then obviously what is important is and what this program is producing is the understanding on how things work at such a level that you can actually work and kind of provide additional value with these tools. So it would be nice if you could ask questions on the kind of job market or those related things. We can of course kind of maybe Mikko has a question for me to start on this topic, but it's been it's really cool area because it has very profound impacts on many things. And for me, because it basically kind of joins two of my interests, languages, and then making people's lives easier and solving problems, it's been a really fun field to work in.
Okay, so maybe I can make a question.
Yeah.
To you. So what do you think in about 2 years, then what kind of people the companies are looking for?
I think that the companies need diverse people. So there is this stereotype of the nerdy guy who comes and does magical things with all kinds of algorithms. But and they are also needed. I don't mean that, but it is also very important to understand that all kinds of people are needed to understand what the problems are, and especially people who want to understand where and how these things could be used in a good way. So not everybody needs to be a kind of a developing the algorithms. Some do, and that's kind of like awesome. And then on the other side those who then speak the client, so to say, so that these kind of things fit into the use cases. So for example, in my and Mikko's case, we have had research programs together, and Mikko's group has provided open source tools, but then it's quite a bit of a work to actually get it working in the Linksoft's work processes to bring some added value. So there's kind of when you have a curious mind and you are kind of interested in kind of working the work and figuring out what's needed, there's work for everyone.
Maybe I can ask you another question about the
Okay.
studies, if you still remember of your own time and studies. So what kind of courses kind of were most useful for you?
Yeah,
Which you recommend to take?
I think the kind of the basic, well, not the basic statistic, so, well, they too, but the kind of like many of these things work on math. So understanding the underlying distributions of how to model things are sort of very profound, to make a profound understanding why does something work like this. But then for me, it was also fun. I was able to do some studies also on linguistics at the University of University of Helsinki. Yes, so I had some general linguistics and general phonetics courses, which also kind of made the studying fun. And I assume that is actually possible also now that it is possible to kind of get a permit to get interesting courses from other universities in Finland. It may require a bit of bureaucracy to get that working, but then Finland has a very good network of universities, and people tend to know each other, and there are all these kind of agreements. So I am a generalist, so I don't know very deep about anything, but I know a lot. Kind of, I have a shallow knowledge on a lot of things, and it's been kind of useful, or I've been able to get all this kind of knowledge at Aalto as well.
Thanks, Tina, and it's good that you brought out this opportunity that as a student at Aalto, you can actually take courses at University of Helsinki if you are interested in the language science in general or language technology there. So we have very good connections there, and it is actually pretty straightforward. You can apply for study right there, and you can include the courses. If you just mention that to your professor here that would like to take these courses, then it's certainly fine and recommended. So
yeah, that's very awesome.
Okay, I guess we can move on. Thanks, Tina, very
You're
much.
welcome.
I still have a couple of slides here about studies in general here in Aalto. So beside studies, so we have a lot of student organizations for kind of doing hobbies or whatever you like. So photography, sports, sailing, music, whatever you name it, there is a study guild for almost anything. And of course, we have a very good public transportation here. So I mentioned the subway, and also we have buses, and the tram is coming. So you can kind of enhance your life circles also around Aalto campus, so participating anything that is happening in the capital area of Finland, which constitutes more than 1 million people living here. So this is, and also the Aalto campus is a unique environment. As I mentioned, we have this business, art, and technology students. About student benefits. So I think Finland is a good country in that sense that as a student, you can do many things cheaper than, I would say, normal people. So you can get cheap lunch from the university and also several other cafeterias. You can get public transportation, I think half price, and also you can go gym or museums and other things where students' discounts apply. Housing is in general quite expensive in Finland, but as a student, you can get cheaper housing as well. And the student healthcare is very good, so that's free of charge. It's very useful. And also the student sports services provided by Unisport, they are quite wide. Finally, about the admission information, as already was asked. So the application period is starting soon, 1st of December. It's not very long period, so you should be quite quick applying in December because it closes very quickly after New Year. And you will find everything about application instructions, tuition fees, and scholarships, and admission requirements from this address. So basically looking for admission services. Yes, and I think now is the time for questions. So please use the chat for any questions.
So Mikko, do you want to answer a question on the research focus across Aalto, Helsinki, Turku, or shall I?
I can do, yes.
So how does the research focus compare across Aalto, Helsinki, and Turku?
Yeah, so compared to University of Helsinki and Aalto, so we do a lot of work together in machine learning. So we have this Finnish Center of Artificial Intelligence that involves both Aalto University and Helsinki University. And specifically looking at speech and language technology. So in Aalto University, we do things like speech recognition and speech analysis. In University of Helsinki, there are top research groups in machine translation and linguistics and phonetics. In Turku, they are also studying a lot of natural language processing. And there is also groups in Tampere, but I think there are translation studies and also kind of analyzing audio in general there. And I think that's about it, there is in Finland.
There's some speech recognition research, or at least startups also in Oulu, in northern Finland.
Yeah. Somebody's asking when will the recording of this webinar be available? So I think quite soon. Maybe Anna is going to put it available in YouTube.
Yes, and I forgot to mention about the job opportunities that in Finland, especially in this field of language technology, one gets by quite well in English also at work. For example, at Linksoft, it's taken some of our employees a few years to learn some Finnish, but we'll kind of switch so that everybody understands and somehow their language skills get boosted a little bit. And because of course in a longer term it's useful to understand either Finnish or Swedish, which are the official languages in Finland, but there are people who've been here for a decade or two and still don't speak Finnish, and still they get by.
Yes, I could say that it's kind of you manage with English here in such a level that you are not really need even to study Finnish. But of course, we all hope that you would use this time here to learn also a little bit about Finnish language. But
Yes.
But you can survive without, I would say.
Yes. Yeah, in the professional context, we don't always know what all these terms are in Finnish either. So
yeah. Okay, feel free to ask if anything you have. Okay. Any extended visa options to find a job? Yeah, I don't know how it is at the moment. At least you can stay some time in the country after you have finished your studies, but I don't know how long it is at the moment.
yes,
It's like half a year or full year or.
Yes, and then during your studies you will have automatically a part-time work, or you can work part-time. Is it now 20 hours a week or something like that during your studies, and then during the kind of when university during summertime, then you can work full-time.
I can actually add to that. Thanks, Tiina. That was correct and good information. But I think the visa for graduates, international graduates, was actually extended very recently. So it used to be 1 year, but it's 2 years now.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Good news. Yes.
So it should be quite easy to stay in Finland and find a job.
At least I think in this area, 2 years is certainly enough that you can find a good job here if you want to stay.
Yes, one would think so.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, maybe Anna or Eva can answer this question about the fees about education. It depends on your country of origin, I guess.
Yeah, maybe I can answer. So yes, there's a tuition fee for students outside EU countries. But then there's a scholarship program that you can apply to when applying to Aalto. And I think you can find more information about the tuition fees and scholarships in the admission page, which I linked earlier.
And I think I can quite freely say that within our area, I think most of the overseas students will get the scholarships. So if you have a good grades from your bachelor, then you are very well positioned. And I think everybody who is selected to our programs, they need to have a good grade. So I think you have good chances to get a scholarship. Hey, there's a question about the assistance provided by the university to find internships or jobs. I can say from my part, but I don't know if there is something Aalto-wide or from the program side. Maybe Anna or Eva might know. At least from my side, so I typically share job advertisements within my courses. So for people. So many people in industry, they actually asking me that if I have any good students, then I typically share those job adverts in the course mailing lists.
Yeah, and we have quite good career services in the university, so they can also help with finding a job and searching for a job.
Yes, and I can kind of concur here that basically when we have like a possibly a kind of an interesting research topic in mind, we are known to ask Mikko if he happens to have a student for, say, master's thesis or something. And our recent student for Mikko, this wasn't the speech stuff, but rather machine translation quality assurance master's thesis that was completed at Linksoft. So
yes, basically in my own side, so we have a kind of special course in natural language processing where I typically ask invited lecturers from the industry. So in that way, people get to know, the students and the industry people get to know each other. So it makes the threshold a bit lower for applying jobs or sending recruitments information.
yes, that is a very good course.
Actually, regarding the work visas and stuff that we discussed earlier, I just noticed that in the renewal that lifts it the post-graduation work visa to 2 years, they also increased the working hours for students. So apparently it's now 30 hours per week.
Okay.
To
yeah,
work
mine was from
alongside your
last summer,
studies.
so
Yeah,
kind of year ago when we needed to check.
Yeah, these keep changing and luckily to the right direction. So let's see what the situation is next year, for example. I'll put a link in the chat where you can also read more about this.
30 hours a week is almost full time. As in Finland, typically 36 hours is full time. So it means that you really have an option if you want to work while you study.
Yes, although please also study and don't
Yeah.
kind of overtire yourself by working 30 hours a week and studying, because there's so much more there to kind of take advantage of.
There's also a question, what are some examples of recent master thesis topics? Could Mikko share some?
Okay, yeah, so we have had topics that are quite kind of machine learning specific. For example, studying a certain algorithm for speech and language processing. But then we have also had quite kind of application dependent topics, like let's say building a chatbot system or testing it. So there are kinds of course, the topics are typically very specific. Somebody has studied something and one wants to do a specific topic, but I can say that they are kind of quite broadly different areas on speech and language processing. And I could also mention that many do research projects already before their master's thesis, so that they can actually continue this same research area for the master's thesis as well. And one specialty for, I think, Finland and especially Aalto University is that many of these master's theses and also research projects are actually done at the industry. So it is also possible to find topics there which is good in the sense that you know then that these topics are relevant for your job, and also many people actually get their future job in that way, that they do a research project or master's thesis already in the company that they will later be working on. So that is certainly, it's not only that you might get some salary for doing your research project, but it's also kind of getting your network for finding jobs later. Previous knowledge in programming or any other field. So far, there is not much about machine learning or signal processing or kind of natural language processing in the bachelor stage. So basically, we start from quite beginning in the courses, but of course we advance rapidly. So if you have previous knowledge, it is good. Programming, I would say, is quite essential in this field. So I recommend that to take some kind of courses in programming before you start studying here. Otherwise, it may be difficult if you don't know anything about programming. But yes, I think in this field, it's still not so much about programming. So you need to have some programming skills, like you have skills to compute or skills to read, but it's not kind of the most important thing. But it makes life easier if you already know something. Like Python programming is very common nowadays. Okay, Java is a difficult programming language. So if you know that, then I think many others will be more easy.
But Mikko, what is the most used language? Is it still Python?
Python, definitely, yes.
Yeah, so in that sense, if you can find an online, I think, for example, Stanford is offering a kind of free online course on principles of that kind of NLP with Python. So
yeah,
checking something like that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. And it's also that the kind of people in industry typically expect that our graduates will at least know programming.
Yeah.
So if you don't know it beforehand, then you have to learn it during the studies.
Of course, it depends on the role. For example, I don't really code except for little pilots, but my code is not pretty enough to go in production.
Yeah.
But kind of at the kind of understanding it, so that you kind of understand what is to put some kind of a problem in a code is a kind of a minimum requirement also in kind of sales side. Well, not sales, but the kind of expert side. So that then somebody who is the programmer and can make things pretty then can do that.
Yeah, but also I could say, since you mentioned this humanities background and English literature, so you would not be the first one with that kind of background to come to our program and even pass it. So it all depends on kind of your personality, that how interested you are and how much you are willing to work. Then I would say it is possible that even without engineering background, it is possible to do the studies. But of course, the engineering background will help you. But if you are kind of motivated enough, then I don't see it as a problem at all. And as Tina said earlier, that we and also the field needs many people from different backgrounds. So you might also have advantage of having a different background than others. Okay, how many places or seats there are? Okay, that's interesting question. I think we had 20 this year and expect to keep the same amount also next year. Maybe Eva remembers better. It was this 20 or
Yeah, it was 20 years for this intake.
yeah, so we have actually course named Natural Language Processing that I'm teaching, and also Tiina is a visiting lecturer on that course. So that is a mandatory course that you are supposed to do. Otherwise, computational linguistics is not that much in focus, so we kind of look at this more application point of view, like doing applications like machine translation or speech recognition or part of speech tagging or that kind of things. But if you are also interested in computational linguistics, then I could also recommend the courses in University of Helsinki that you can include in your curriculum. Who can apply? So maybe Eva has the latest knowledge of what are the requirements.
Yeah, the detailed information is in the page, in the admission page of this admission target. So just a moment, I can link it to you.
I think the basic requirement is to have a bachelor in a suitable field.
Yeah, I think it was listed computer science, communications engineering, software engineering, but then depending on the background knowledge, it can be something else as well. But I can link it to the chat so you can see the detailed information about the background requirements.
And as a kind of curiosity, I can mention that one of the people that we actually took this year had a background in English literature, as that was mentioned. But she had also done many other interesting things and did really well. So that's why we took her. So even though there are some formal requirements that if you have other skills that we consider useful, it may still possible to get in. So I think we are approaching the end of our webinar. So there are still time for a couple of questions. So please ask, especially those who haven't yet had a chance to ask their questions. So you can also freely ask anything else than if you don't want to ask about the studies, but also like jobs in Finland or living in Finland in general or in Europe or whatever. We can try to answer. about the courses. Yeah, already mentioned speech recognition course that I'm giving, and also the natural language processing course. Then we have one course in speech processing, and then machine learning course, and then we have a project course, we're doing a project work in speech and language processing, and also we have a seminar where students are studying different timely topics and giving presentations. So I think those are the mandatory courses or the compulsory courses, and then as an optionals we have a long list of different courses, and also we can consider other courses if you yourself think they are relevant. And also, as I mentioned, courses in other universities like University of Helsinki could also be included. Okay, I think we could take one more question if anybody have anything. Okay, there doesn't seem to be any questions. So I thank all the speakers, Tiina, Anna, and Eva, and also all the participants for this webinar, and remind you that this will be available in YouTube, so you can watch it later. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you hopefully in Finland later.
Yes, I hope to see you when somewhere as a kind of, thesis worker or somewhere else. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.